to Victoria by 218 runs. And Illawarra Hawks player Kevin Leash polled 93 votes to be named tonight's NBL's most valuable player. He won the award before in 2012 when he was a Perth Wildcat. Adelaide 36ers Jerome Randall was hotly tipped as a favourite ahead of the night. Now the FiveAA forecast, clear through the night, sunny and 28 this morning. Friday, cloudy and 28. Mostly sunny, a top of 30 on Saturday, cloudy and 37 then for Sunday. Very hot for Monday, a top of 40, then cloudy and back to 35 on Tuesday. More news as it happens on FiveAA.
Peter Godfrey on 1395, Adelaide's FiveAA.
And a very good morning, 5:08. Another coolish morning in comparison to some we've had. 14 degrees is the current temperature. Let's take a look at what's happening across the ditch. Joined by Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz, New Zealand's independent online debate. How are you this morning, Selwyn?
Yeah, not too bad, Peter. There's been a lot of gale force winds across the country in the last day, weather warnings, etc. Things are taming down a little bit now. But we're heading for an Auckland area for a high of around 26, and it's been an overnight low of about 18. But all of this is this complex weather system that's been tracking over the country, and certainly over this part of the South Pacific, really, and all affected by that cyclone we mentioned last week, really. That Cyclone Winston, at that stage, Peter, the modelling of the weather people showed it was coming down for a direct hit on New Zealand, but at a high that was just to the east of New Zealand, pushed it out to the out into the eastern on an eastern track into the Pacific, or tracked down around as a Category 2 cyclone past Suva and Fiji. They got quite a drenching there. Went across Tonga, gave them quite a good drenching. It's been out in the Pacific there, building up steam, and Category 4 was late last night, it was regarded as, and it was heading back to poor old Tonga, so they were going to get a double whack from the thing. So around that, it's been hugely, been watched with a lot of interest, obviously, for its, how powerful it's getting, how dangerous it is. It's still out there, Cyclone Winston, and causing the weather people a lot of brain time. One of the weather people, Duncan from Weather Watch, he actually put out on his Twitter yesterday, Peter, I'm so over modelling the Cyclone Winston at the moment. He was the one who really picked that it was forming into a cyclone when it was just a storm up there in the Coral Sea. Yeah,
you gotta feel for forecasters at times that they get so criticised when they get it wrong, but it's not an exact science, is it? It does change. The patterns do change.
Yeah, a lot of sleepless nights. I think watching this thing going around.
Yeah.
That's the situation. So New Zealand's been spared from it. A lot of gale force winds and a lot of weather, but we can certainly endure that. And looks like hopefully, if things don't, the modelling at the moment is showing that the weekend should be fine for the country.
Let's hope that modelling is right.
Yes.
Indeed, one. Glad to know that it didn't affect you too much as was feared originally. Now, a bit of breaking news happening over there too regarding David Bain. Now, he was convicted of murder but then found not guilty, but there's been another development in that, has there? And maybe give us a bit of background firstly on this gentleman.
Background first, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Now, David Bain, yes, he's well known over here in New Zealand as a very young man. He was convicted of murdering his family back in the early 1990s. Now, he served 13 years for, he was convicted, and on a appeal, he was convicted again, and he served 13 years of his minimum, I should say, of 16-year sentence. Now, why he got out 3 years earlier is because his bid to the Privy Council was successful, and the Privy Council quashed his convictions in 2007 and ordered New Zealand to do a retrial. He was acquitted after that 3 months retrial in Christchurch, and that was in 2009 when he was acquitted. Now, ever since then, the government has been trying to consider and has been getting overseas retired and former judges, High Court judges, to consider whether or not David Bain should get compensation for his time in prison. And considering that a jury found him not guilty in 2009 as ordered by the Privy Council retrial. So on this, what has happened at the moment, or the first thing that happened, Peter, was the government under the Justice Minister Judith Collins, or known, colloquially as Judith Crusher Collins.
That's right, yeah.
She ordered a Canadian High Court judge, Justice Binney, to investigate all the elements of the case and to make a recommendation. Now, Justice Binney's report came back, wasn't what the government was wanting to hear. He was extremely sympathetic to David Bain's situation, and there was quite a lot of character assassination, I've got to say, relating to Justice Binney in that thing. There's a lot of criticism that was steered from the government relating to whether or not his findings and his recommendations were based on the terms of original terms of reference and that. Now, so what happened there? There was a change of Justice Minister through other reasons. A woman called Amy Adams, a lot of credibility to Amy Adams, a lot of respect for Amy Adams in the country. She ordered another High Court judge, former High Court judge, an Australian man, to have another look at this again. Now, that has come back, and it's retired Judge N. Callanan, QC, from Australia. Yeah. Now, he has come back and he has found that David Bain was not innocent beyond reasonable doubt, is the quote. Now, the New Zealand Herald is leading with this at the moment. Peter, it's breaking news. The government has not yet been able to digest this particular findings, that recommendations that he is making, and actually the recommendations are not mapped out yet. It's still shaping as far as the information that is coming out. So, but the big thing that there's here at the moment is this judge has found David Bain not innocent beyond reasonable doubt. Now, what comes from there? The Herald is listing in bullet points here. Finding means he does not meet the extraordinary circumstances test for a compensation claim of wrongful imprisonment, and that the government has spent an estimated $1 million on considering David Bain's bid. So will this be the end of David Bain's bid for compensation? It may be, Peter, that's the case. The country has always been very divided on this particular murder. It was very early in the 1990s. It happened early in the morning. David Bain always said that he was out doing his paper run. He came back and found that his family had been murdered, meaning his father, his mother, and two of his sisters and his brother. And he was the sole living person in that whole family unit.
Okay.
So there's a lot of sympathy for David Bain in the country, as well as a lot of critics, and a lot of people say, no, David Bain definitely did it, trying to make it look like his father had done the murders and then committed suicide. They felt that was, a low blow. Others are saying, oh, come on here, the evidence points to the father, and that David Bain was another victim. But a surviving victim, and this is where the divide in the country has been ever since. Okay,
and I guess this latest development's going to keep that divide there, I'm sure, for quite some time until...
Yes, well, it's an interesting phrase, isn't it? I know that's where the Herald has picked this up, in the sense that when the Privy Council said, oh, no, this evidence is not safe, that this man was convicted on, it should go to a retrial, and, blah, 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 and it was, and a jury found him not guilty. And the beyond reasonable doubt is obviously the weighing factor there. Yeah. And for this to come back now from Ian Callanan QC saying innocent, he is not innocent beyond reasonable doubt, that's hugely controversial.
Yeah, indeed.
The jury of peers has already got that far.
Okay. I'm sure we'll hear more about that, as you guys will. Hey, we'll just take a quick break, Selwyn, and then we got plenty of other things to talk about, including the cricket and a big bang for New Zealand. We'll find out more about that in just a moment. Selwyn Manning's with us. He's editor of EveningReport.nz.
5AA Breakfast.
The recommendation has come out that we should look at setting up a nuclear waste dump. The figures in terms of revenue that it would bring in are enormous. Chris Pine.
We have to have moved on from the flower power era of the 60s and 70s, when people demonised this kind of energy. Nuclear power is a very clean source of energy.
5AA Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA.
Dave bought a Honda. Dave Potter Honda's annual 4-day sale is on now. You'll drive away laughing with a $1,000 factory bonus plus $500 worth of accessories across a great range of models like CR-V, Jazz, Civic Sedan, Accord and more. Deals like this don't last, so hurry into Dave Potter before time runs out. DavePotterHonda.com.au, South Australia's #1 and Australia's most awarded Honda dealer.
Dave Potter Honda.
Offer applies to selected 2015 build vehicles purchased before Feb 22 and delivered before Feb 29. While stocks last, conditions apply.
The Glenelg Club just keeps getting better. Same for Sundays. Every Sunday, the Glenelg Club has Sundays. $7 pizzas, $5 beer, wine and bubbles, and live music from 4 to 8. It's also a great place to enjoy a meal or catch up for a coffee while the kids run around Glenelg's biggest backyard. So come and see what's possible at Sundays. Every Sunday at the Glenelg Club. Gliderol Stadium, Glenelg.
At Oakland's Aged Care in Oaklands Park, we're enriching the lives and lifestyles of our senior Australians. Through our dynamic lifestyle program and individualised care and support, we're enabling our residents to live their lives to the fullest. After all, it's not aged care, it's caring for the aged. Japara Healthcare and Aged Care Services Australia Group are at the forefront of the aged care industry. So book your tour today. Call Oakland's Aged Care on 8296 7284 or Google Oakland's Aged Care.
Take the stress out of a stressful situation. We understand you don't have time for blocked drains, burst pipes or hot water leaks. We're here to help. Ken Hall Plumbers, your local plumbers since 1983. Give Ken a call, 8364 5855.
Want to get your garden looking its best? Look for Brunnings garden products. Because with 160 years of history, no one beats Brunnings for value.
Or scaring away creepy crawlies. Brunnings Outdoor and Indoor Surface Spray acts like a full 24/7 bug and spider shield, and it'll protect the inside of your home for up to a year.
Brunnings Outdoor Surface Spray. Part of the Brunnings range at all good garden centres and hardware stores. Brunnings Garden Products, proudly South Australian owned.
There's a party atmosphere every Sunday at the Jeps Cross Market, so come and see what's happening. Because there's fabulous homemade treats, fresh fruit and veg, all at fantastic bargain prices. There's arts and crafts too, plus bric-a-brac and second-hand items. It's all here, and you can come to browse, buy or sell. Yes, the Jeps Cross Market is alive and well, so come and enjoy it. Sundays from 7 a.m. at Wallace Cinemas Mainline Drive-In, Main North Road.
Peter Godfrey, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
And we're also talking New Zealand. Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz, is with us now. Selwyn, your flag referendum's getting ever closer, and bit of a nod. Well, it's obviously people taking notice of it quite far and wide, including one Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory. That show's big over there as it is here?
It is certainly big. I think it's a global phenomenon, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Got a bit of audio of what one episode just recently had with Sheldon hosting his little Fun with Flags segments that he does on the show. Here's what happened.
Rajesh, it's perfectly normal to have doubts after breaking up with someone.
You really think so?
Yeah, you know what's not normal? Blubbering about emotions during a flag show. Yeah, unless that emotion is excitement over New Zealand changing their flag. Yeah, good luck, you crazy Kiwis. We're rooting for you.
Oh, that must have been heartwarming for you crazy Kiwis to know Sheldon Cooper's rooting for you.
Absolutely. There you go. Well, hopefully this whole flag thing isn't a bit of a fizzer, Peter. You know, it'd be like, fireworks or something. You go and, light this great big thing, all this excitement, even seems like even over in the United States about the flag potentially changing, and then it'll fizzle out. So the latest thing here, Peter, of course, it goes to the referendum in March. March 3rd it starts. Postal referendum takes a couple of 3 weeks or whatever. They're sent back, and then we should know fairly soon after that what the situation is. But the New Zealand Herald, I've got to say, is it's an excellent infographic that it's got here, and it put to the a poll out there, the Herald Read poll, and said, which of the two flags do you prefer? And basically it comes back and it says 48% said they will definitely vote to keep the New Zealand flag.
48%, okay.
48%. So it's getting closer. That used to be over the 50 mark, up around 55, and originally it was up around the 60. So things are tracking down there, so it's starting to get closer. But then the next question is, I would probably vote to keep the the current New Zealand flag, meaning the word there, instead of definitely, it's probably, and 8% are saying they probably will.
Yeah.
There's a bit of wiggle room there, but they're pretty well going on that thing, we'll just keep it. So if you add up the numbers, you're looking at 56% currently saying, we'll keep what's already there. Now, the other question is, the other statement is, I would probably vote for the new flag design. So that's the probably again, that's 12%, and I would definitely vote for the new flag design is 24%. So if you look at that, you're looking at 36% at the moment to 48, maybe 56. So there's a lot of ground there, but it's certainly firming up, and it looks like those who are preferring a change are starting to warm more. More people are gathering into that particular thing. One of the big fizzes that we're talking about, fizzes on this, is the government ordered that both of the flag options, the current one and the new one, fly on the Auckland Harbour Bridge through the summer, so through January, etc. Now, the current New Zealand flag kept all its colours, look, nice and blue and all that, waving proudly in the breeze. The new offering there, it started off looking like a faded old tea towel.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then a cleaner one was put up. And people thought, gee, those colours don't look like the ones that we've been shown. They look quite muted. And it continues to look like a faded old tatty tea towel sitting up there next to the glorious one with the Union Jack. But the complexities in the whole vote, Peter, they're really boiling down into different areas. What we're picking up all the way through is that, usually people that would, I can't stand this left or right divide type thing, but if you're going to use that as a category where people sit, those on the centre left and left of the political spectrum here in New Zealand have always generally advocated a change away from the British monarchy, more toward independence, referendum perhaps in our lifetime type ideas and everything.
Yeah.
Normally you would think that getting rid of the flag that's got the Union Jack on it would fit some of those ideals, but because John Key, who's, conservative at best, right-wing, in many view too far right-wing on other things, National Party always been, pro-monarchy, brought the knights and dames thing on his back and all of that kind of baggage. So they look across at John Key and they're saying, well, John Key's wanting this flag, so we're not going to vote for this flag. No way.
Just on that basis alone.
He wanted the TPP, he wants the TPP, and we're not going to vote for a flag that it's his preference. And so most of those that are struggling with what are you going to do with your vote are in the left. And sitting there thinking, well, okay, we might want the Union Jack pulled off the flag and flicked back to Britain, but, those are our reasons. We don't want to vote for this thing that's John Key's reasons. He just wants a brand change. It's trivial. So that's where the debate is in New Zealand, on the streets, around the water coolers, at smoko tables. It's all about that.
All about that. That's interesting. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out after the 3rd. Anyway, to wind it up before we run out of time, the two test series in the cricket, we've taken out the first test, but second test starting Friday, is it? Tomorrow?
On the 20th.
On the 20th, on the 20th.
Yeah, 20th on Saturday.
Saturday in Christchurch.
Hagley Oval in Christchurch.
Yeah.
Now, New Zealand was well beaten, I've got to say, Peter. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And people that follow the cricket. New Zealand, of course, won the one-day international series against you guys, 2-1. The test series is the 2-test series. You guys, huge advantage. You beat New Zealand by a whole innings and 52 runs at the one at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. Fantastic to see the Basin Reserve holding that, and it did it pretty well. It was a great game. So what's happened in the meantime? It's going to be played. The second final test will be played starting Saturday at Hagley Oval in Christchurch. Now, last Sunday, so only a few days ago, huge earthquake. Another shallow one. So it's 5.9 or 5.7 on the Richter scale, depending on who and whatever is gauging that. Very shallow, and was quite a whack. No injuries, no fatalities, thank goodness. A little bit of damage around the place. Roof damage in some of the malls, that kind of thing. Roof collapsed in a couple of buildings. So it's certainly a good shake. Cliffs came down around the
Saw the video
area.
of that. That was,
almost wiped out some kids that were around that area, and so lucky that there were no loss of life. Big shake, but your guys will be playing cricket on Hagley Oval with all the aftershocks still going. The aftershocks will continue on for quite some time, so it'll be interesting watching them. If there's a bit of a wobble when they're standing there, and the ball looks like one that's played, and next thing you know, they're wobbling on their feet, and their bat goes a bit wonky, Peter. You'll know.
We'll know what it
perhaps
is.
There's an aftershock occurring.
Yeah. And I think the first 2 days are sold out, I think, aren't they? And then was it the third day of the test actually falls on the 5th anniversary of the big earthquake in Christchurch, so quite an anniversary.
That certainly will be marked throughout that game, no doubt. But no, it's excellent cricket in evidence at these games. It was like the Australian tourniquet got around our players very early in the first test here, and we'll see what kind of a response we can do come Saturday for the next 5 days after that.
Indeed. All right, Selwyn, you have yourself a great week. May the best team win, as we always say, and we will catch up with you next week.
Okay, Peter, take care.
All the best, Selwyn. Selwyn Manning, editor of EveningReport.nz. Just coming up to 29 minutes past 5, and Stone along next with all the latest news, sport and weather.
Hello. For 8 hours only this Sunday,